with SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln by clicking their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. New leadership will be in place for Lincoln and Douglas schools starting next year, and an assistant principal could be hired as soon as February. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton Schools Superintendent Drew Goebel indicates Mrs. Jessica Patrick has submitted her resignation, and so the district will be working to find her replacement. Mrs. Patrick will stay in her current position as principal until the end of the year.
She's resigned, but at the end of this year, so she's not resigning effective immediately. So she's gonna finish the year out. There's still a lot of restructuring that we have that we're working on. A lot of work to do, but yeah, she has put that in, and so we will be also looking for a principal, but that will start next year.
According to Goebel, Clinton's Lincoln and Douglas schools have an immediate need for an assistant principal. He explains having students from the same grade level at two different buildings, but only one principal, creates a void in leadership.
So the idea of an assistant principal is going to be that additional support, having everybody together. And typically the assistant principal is going to be helping manage student behaviors. That's not only what they do. I've been spending a lot of time at Lincoln or Douglas right now because the current model, the principal bounces back and forth between the two schools. So like right now, if the principal is at Douglas, there is no administrator at Lincoln. So if the student is having a tough time, there's no administrator there. You know, we have lead teachers, we have different things in place that I don't think it's functioning very well. So I've been spending a lot of my time at those schools just throughout the year. When those behaviors happen next year, we'll have a principal, we'll have an assistant principal. We also have right now an SEL teacher with social and emotional learning that's helping those kids, social skills and how to share and how to manage their emotions. And, so that we have that position, but that position right now bounces back and forth between both schools. So that's hypothetically the principal and the SEL person as at Douglas. And then there's a problem at Lincoln. Who's going to deal with it?
Adding to the necessity of the position, Goebel indicates that the restructuring of Lincoln and Douglas schools for next year will require an assistant principal.
This is something that has been asked about for probably a decade. Literally, teachers have been wanting an assistant principal at Lincoln and Douglas, but the current model, but next year, and we've talked about it on the radio, and it's people, at least in Clinton, are aware that next year, all of the kindergarten and first grade students, all those students will be at Lincoln School next year. And then next year, all the preschool students will be at Douglas School. So right now we have what you would call a neighborhood school where you go to school in your neighborhood. And that was an old model. Most school districts throughout really Illinois that they don't have neighborhood schools anymore. Moving to an attendance center is what we will have next year. That is much more common. I think that for academics, instruction, supports, all of that makes, in my opinion, a lot more sense. And that was approved in a several board meetings ago. Actually, the previous principal of Lincoln and Douglas School, the night that it was approved, she reached out to me and said, "Thank you, Drew. That I wish we would have done that years ago." So that was not a new concept.
GBBall anticipates the assistant principal for Lincoln and Douglas schools to be voted on for approval in February. However, that person will only take on that role for the second semester. Then the job will be reposted after the school year for next year, where that person can reapply.
So right now, I've been doing, so I just need an office to work out of. Most of my job as a superintendent, I'm doing conference calls or I'm working on spreadsheets. I need a space. So I've been working out of those two offices, but there are times, like right now, for example, that I can't be at Lincoln School. And again, I'm hoping for internal interest on this. So we will hire an assistant principal that will primarily be at Lincoln School this semester. Like we hire them. I'm guessing they might start after the February board meeting. That person would then have to reapply if they want to do it next year. I don't want to call it a trial basis, but we do that right now with teachers. Say we have a teacher that resigns at the semester, a teacher, and we are able to snag a mid-year graduate from ISU, and they are English, social studies, whatever, and they teach for the semester. We repost their job for next year. And if they do a great job, we give it to them. Sometimes they don't. And we open it up and we find somebody better. This is a very similar situation to that.
The Clinton Board of Education approved the position for an assistant principal at Lincoln and Douglas schools for the second semester at its Tuesday night meeting. Additionally, the board approved the resignation of Mrs. Patrick on Tuesday night. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, community action looking ahead to 2026. A Central Illinois nonprofit is doing some self-reflection as we head into the new year. Community Action Partnership of Central Illinois, or CAPSUL, is doing an evaluation of its mission and if they are meeting that mission. Breanne Titus is the Chief Visionary Officer for Community Action and indicates they are evaluating how they are doing in fulfilling the agency's mission.
When I was here in November, we talked a lot about just kind of recapping the year for 2025 and kind of where that took us. And obviously we dealt with the government shutdown, and we made it through all of that. And I think that's something to celebrate going into 2026. Obviously, as if anybody kind of keeps track of that and kind of follows the government stuff right now, there's a potential that could happen again. And for us, we're just kind of keeping focused on the clients and the customers and what our community needs from us. Thankfully, most of our funding has already been allocated. Later in the year, we could come across a challenge and we'll cross that road when we get there. But our focus really going into 2026 has kind of reigniting our passion and our mission. And one of the things we talked about during our strategic planning this last year was, our tagline is helping people, changing lives. But what does that really mean? And what is the difference between helping people and actually changing their lives?
Titus admits her and her staff can lose sight of the small victories they help their clients achieve. To not lose sight of those things, the staff at Community Action has started to do a weekly inventory of the good things going on.
And so something that we started doing, we started writing down things that each one of our program does. And we start to question it, like, is that helping people or is that actually changing their life? And we started to realize that every single day we're helping people, but maybe we need to take one step further to actually make a change in that person's life instead of just helping them in the moment. And so that was really kind of our refocus and our reignite going into this new year was make sure that when we're dealing with these customers and we're dealing with clients, we're helping them in that moment, but we're also taking it up a notch and we're going above and beyond to actually not just help them, but actually change their life for the better. And I think that's kind of sparked some new interest in a lot of us, especially some of our veteran staff. I've been there almost 10 years and sometimes you lose track of that a little bit.
In addition to looking inward, Titus adds they are also assessing what the community's needs are, if they have programming to meet that need, or if they need to consider adding programs.
We always are looking for something new and innovative. Like, we're always looking at what the community needs are, and if we have services that meet those needs, and if we don't, is that something we want to take on? Rental assistance, helping pay from some additional financial hardships right now has kind of been a big thing in our state, in our counties, in our country. And so that is something that we've kind of looked at, like, how can we maybe make that a bigger focus? Does that mean we have to go out and find more funding to be able to support some of those challenges for some of our clients? What does that look like? Does that just, look like maybe a further conversation, maybe some education on budgeting? So we kind of have those conversations, and whether that's a change to the program structure by adding something else, adding in more funding, or if that's just kind of having a different conversation, a little bit of both kind of happens. But we're always looking for, how can we make it better? And then also, does that make a change in what we're doing?
Titus indicates community action will continue to deliver services to those in the community who have come to rely on services like its food pantry, Lie Heap, and many others, as well as its Hand Up services to lift people out of poverty. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Happy New Year from all of us here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Most of our customers trade for a different SUV or truck because their needs change each year. That's good because we have transportation options for you. Plus, we need your trade. Our selection of top quality, pre-owned trades come from you. Come see our ever-changing Chevrolet and Buick inventory today. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time is 20 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Residents of Lincoln know 6th Street Road going west past Lincoln Parkway is a rough stretch of road. It's been nearly 30 years since plans have been in motion for the road to be worked on, but nothing has ever been done. That should change in 2026, says Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch.
This is the project that never ends. It started in 1996, if you can believe it. We've had money earmarked for decades for this project, and the scope of the project's changed over the years, but today is the day for letting with IDOT. And, unless something comes up unexpected, the project is going to move forward. So we couldn't be more excited about it. I know the people that live out there and work out there, they're excited. They deserve a new road out there. They've deserved it for a long time. It looks like we're going to finally be able to deliver that forward. It started out as a 3-lane road with a nice bike path and turn lane in the center and stuff like that. It's been reduced down. The bike path will still be there, but it's just dirt. If we want to come back and finish that later, we can. It is down to a 2-lane. We removed the turn lane out of there. But it'll be a completely resurfaced road, from shoulder to shoulder. We have some drainage issues that we need to address on that road from the housing areas that are out there and stuff. So we've already got that plan in place. We've been doing some preliminary work that we can do. Yeah, it's going to be probably about a 2-year project, and it's going to be phased because there's just an awful lot of traffic out there, and we're going to have to work through that. So people are going to be inconvenienced a little bit, but in the end, we'll have the road that was promised by many past administrations finally.
To get to this place, the city of Lincoln worked for many years to acquire land when the project had a large scope. Mayor Welch indicates for now, the city of Lincoln will retain those parcels of land it acquired during the process.
Yeah, it'll start there at the intersection right where the bowling alley is on 5th Street. It'll go out past Conley Road which is, out past where Cisco is out there.
Mhm.
So
Good.
part of that is a partnership with the county. They've had some money earmarked for their section of the road as well out there. So a pretty good stretch. It'll probably be broke out into 3 phases that we're looking at. So
Yeah.
any of the parcels that we purchased, we'll maintain those parcels and we'll own them. There were several easements that we got, and that was also part of the issue, was that we signed these temporary easements for the project, and then as we've said here, the project has gone on so long that some of those easements have expired, so we've had to go back multiple times and renew easements. And that was part of the decision to reduce the scope of the project. It wasn't just money, because that project has gone up significantly even since I've been there, but it was money, and then it was also land acquisition and stuff like that.
The mayor hopes to see dirt moving on 6th Street Road as soon as this spring and anticipates it being multiple years before it is a finished product, but looks forward to having a nice street for that part of the community. 6th Street Road connects several neighborhoods to the city of Lincoln, as well as houses several manufacturing plants on Lincoln's west side. A developing winter storm could impact portions of southern Illinois this weekend. John Baranek is an ag meteorologist with DTN.
There's a big push of cold polar air that will be coming down. Really, it's all sourced from the North Pole, and we'll be coming down here for late Thursday, and then really setting up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday through the weekend there, really across most of the country. And what's going to be interesting is we'll see a system kind of form along that coming out of California and move straight eastward through Texas and in the southern plains, right across the lower Mississippi Valley into the mid-Atlantic. And yes, that may clip southern Illinois with the system as well. Models are still trying to figure that out, and they're trying to figure out the timing with it a little bit as well. I think they're a little too far spread out with everything going on right now. I think they need to kind of tighten things up a bit, but we do have some risk for some significant snow across the southern tier of the state. It looks like mostly south of I-70 if we do get it. There are a couple of model runs that don't have anything, and it all stays south of the river, but there could be some spots there that see some snow, and it could be significant too. So yeah, we're seeing everything from absolutely nothing to over 6 inches right now. So it's going to be kind of a lot of uncertainty here for the next couple of days while we watch those models kind of lock in.
Any threat of freezing rain should stay well south of the Ohio River. The American Red Cross continues to alert the public of a severe blood shortage as the nation faces dangerous levels of cold heading into late January. You are urged to give now so patients don't face delays in life-saving care. The shortage is especially serious for platelets and types O, A negative, and B negative blood. Ann Vassman's spokesperson for the American Red Cross says there has been about a 35% drawdown in blood supplies over the past month.
We are currently having one of the worst flu seasons that we've seen. That combined with the holidays that we've had, as well as a lot of winter weather, it has led people to not donate as often as they would. And so that's why we have seen a drop in that supply and are encouraging everybody to come out and donate if they can.
As a thank you to donors for helping tackle the blood shortage, those who come in to give through January 25th will be automatically entered for a chance to win a trip for 2 to the Super Bowl. All who come to give January 26th through February 28th will receive a $20 e-gift card to a merchant of choice. More than 160 exhibitors featured at next month's Midwest Truck and Trailer Show in Peoria. Mock inspections are a key feature, says Don Schaefer with the Midwest Truckers Association.
Yeah, we have what we call a government row, and government row has everything, has all the federal, state agencies that are involved in trucking. It could be Secretary of State, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, state police, and go on and on. But it's a great opportunity to get your questions answered because we're going to have everyone there you need to talk to. So it's like a one-stop shop. State police do a great thing. They do what we call mock inspections. We get a truck that's kind of beat up, but it's great because the truck inspectors, the state police, will do the exact same inspection that they will do on a roadside on your truck. And they'll look at everything, all the truck components. And they'll tell you, now this is not in tolerance, issue with the brakes, look for the headlights, look for this, look for that. If you got questions, you ask them while they're doing the inspection. It's great. It's not your truck, so you don't have to worry about it, but it is. There's just a ton of information there.
The Midwest Truck and Trailer Show is February 6th and 7th at the Peoria Civic Center. Now for your local obituaries. Kathy Schneep, 61, of Forsyth, Illinois, passed away at 3:11 p.m. January 20th at her home in Forsyth. Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton is in charge of arrangements. Online condolences may be made at calvertmemorial.com. Daniel F. Seal, 82, of Weldon, passed away at 4:35 p.m. January 16th at his family residence in Weldon. Services with military honors will be 11 a.m. Saturday, January 24th, 2026 at Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton, with Pastor Bob Baker officiating. Visitation will be 9 to 11 a.m. Saturday at the funeral home. Memorials may be directed to Land of Lincoln Honor Flight or Kemmerer Village, Assumption, Illinois. Get news anytime from DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. It's DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump's Board of Peace is now a reality. The president and other board members have signed the board's charter. Mr. Trump, who chairs the panel, says the immediate goal is implementation of the next phase of the Gaza peace agreement. Mr. Trump says efforts to resolve the Russia-Ukraine conflict must and are coming together. Before departing the World Economic Forum in Davos, the president is meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. A powerful winter storm is fixing to spread snow, ice, and frigid temperatures from Texas all the way up to the Northeast in the coming few days. A Texas jury has acquitted former Uvalde Schools police officer Adrian Gonzalez of all charges stemming from the delayed law enforcement response to the deadly Robb Elementary School mass shooting. The Dow features up 122 points. More details, srnnews.com.
The Life Application Study Bible moves you beyond knowing the Bible to living it out. Each of the over 10,000 notes and resources were poured over by scholars and pastors, allowing you to confidently take a deep dive into history, culture, and Christian beliefs. But what sets this Bible apart is how it guides you to apply these insights to your daily life, transforming understanding into truth lived out. Learn more at lifeapplication.com.
Meet Lee Platts, a renter whose possessions fill not only her apartment, but also the darkest corners of a mini storage unit. A land of both truth and fiction. Truth, everything inside is protected by Progressive. Fiction, one day Lee will fit into her clothes from senior year of high school. Renters, discover coverage for what you love and what you can't get rid of in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurer.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. The Clinton Lady Maroons used a balanced offense and attacked from distance to build their lead over 3 quarters and beat the Maroa-Forsyth Lady Trojans by a final score of 59-48 in non-conference high school girls basketball action on Wednesday night in Maroa. The score was tied at 11 after the first quarter, but the Lady Maroons gained a 4-point edge going into halftime, making it 25-11. They outscored the Lady Trojans 34-27 in the second half. Clinton was led by Carly Anderson, who scored 17 points. Clara Dempsey had 16 points, while Avery Smith added 13 points. 5 players combined for 8 Maroons buckets from beyond the arc. Avery Braden led all scorers with 19 points for Maroa-Forsyth. She made 5 shots from distance. Adeline Simmons added 15 points. With the win, Clinton improves to 18-4, while Maroa-Forsyth falls to 13-7. The Lady Maroons will play in the second game of a back-to-back road trip when they travel to Warrensburg-Latham tonight. Tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. Tune in to the next Clinton Maroon sports broadcast when the boys take on Tuscola at home at 7:30 p.m. on Friday. Hear all the Central Illinois Conference action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. Andrei Stojakovic had 30 points and 9 rebounds to lead the number 11 Illinois Fighting Illini to an 89-70 victory over the Maryland Terrapins on Wednesday night. David Mirkovic had 15 points and 9 rebounds. Keaton Wagler scored 13 points, and Jake Davis had 12 points for the Illini, who improved to 16-3 and 7-1 in the Big Ten and won their 8th straight game. The Illini played without senior guard and second leading scorer Kylan Boswell, who broke his right hand in practice on Monday and will have surgery Thursday and is expected to be sidelined until mid-February. Boswell is averaging 14.3 points per game. He had played in all 124 games in his college career, 71 in 2 seasons at Arizona and 53 in 2 seasons at Illinois before Wednesday. Diggy Coit, who scored 43 points Sunday in Maryland's win over Penn State, was held to just 15 points and guarded primarily by Stojakovic. Andre Mills had 16 points, and Solomon Washington had 13 points and 10 rebounds for the Terrapins, who fall to 8-11 and 1-7 in the Big Ten, and they are in a stretch of 4 of 5 games on the road. Illinois led 47-30 at halftime thanks to a 25-4 run to end the half. The Illini were 9 of 22 on three-pointers in the first half and 15 of 40 in the game. Maryland made 6 of its first 7 shots, but ended the night shooting just 40% from the field. The last Illini home win over the Terrapins before Wednesday was a 76-64 victory on January 6th of 2022. Maryland is now 7-3 in its last 10 games at the State Farm Center. Maryland plays at number 10 Michigan State on Saturday, while the Illini play at number 4 Purdue on Saturday. Jaquan Johnson led Bradley with 18 points, and Timothy Van Der Knapp sealed the victory with a free throw with 40 seconds remaining as the Braves took down Indiana State 75-68 on Wednesday. Johnson also contributed 3 steals for the Braves, who improved to 14-7 and 7-3 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Alex Huber-Guest went 5 of 13 from the field, 1 for 6 from three-point range to add 13 points. AJ Smith had 11 points and shot 3 of 6 from the field and 5 of 5 from the free throw line. The Sycamores fall to 9-11 and 2-7 in the Missouri Valley Conference and were led by Ian Scott, who posted 15 points and 8 rebounds. Sterling Young added 13 points for Indiana State. Bruno Allison also recorded 10 points. Ubergeist scored 7 points in the first half, and Bradley went into the break trailing 36-34. Johnson scored 11 points in the second half. Bradley outscored Indiana State by 9 points over the final half. Bowden Scunberg's 20 points helped Illinois State defeat Northern Iowa 59-54 on Wednesday night. Scunberg also had 8 rebounds for the Redbirds, who improved to 14-6 and 6-3 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Tyreek Coleman scored 8 points, going 2 of 3 from the floor and 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Chase Walker had 7 points and shot 1 of 5 from the field and 5 for 5 from the foul line. Ben Schweiger led the Panthers in scoring, finishing with 15 points. The Panthers fall to 12-8 and 4-5 in the MVC. Northern Iowa also got 10 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks from Will Hornseth. Leon Bond III also had 10 points and 6 rebounds. Illinois State went into the half ahead of Northern Iowa 24-16. Skunberg put up 8 points in the half. Skunberg scored Illinois State's last 6 points as the Redbirds finished off a 5-point victory. Yadier Molina is rejoining the St. Louis Cardinals as a special assistant to the front office, where the longtime catcher will provide his thoughts on the club's catching program, game strategy, and day-to-day operations. The Cardinals announced Molina's role working under new president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, on Wednesday. The 43-year-old Molina anchored World Series championship teams in 2006 and 2011, while helping the Cardinals win the NL pennant on 2 other occasions. The 10-time All-Star is the only player in baseball history to catch 2,000 or more games with one club, and his 9 gold gloves are second only to Ivan Rodriguez and Johnny Bench for the most at his position. Molina, a native of Baymont, Puerto Rico, retired after the 2022 season soon got into coaching. He managed the Corrales de Caguas to the 2023 and 24 Roberto Clemente League title in Puerto Rico, and he also guided the team to the 2024 Caribbean Series. Molina managed Navegantes de Magallanes of the Venezuelan Professional Baseball League to the playoffs in 2022, and he returned to the club last year and was voted the league's manager of the year. Taking a look at scores from around the NBA last night, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Charlotte Hornets 94-87. The New York Knicks beat the Brooklyn Nets with a big win, 120 to just 66. The Boston Celtics beat the Indiana Pacers 119-104, while the Atlanta Hawks beat the Memphis Grizzlies 124-122. The Detroit Pistons beat the New Orleans Pelicans 112-104, and the OKC Thunder beat the Milwaukee Bucks 122-102. The Toronto Raptors beat the Sacramento Kings 122-109. In the NCAA last night, number 22 North Carolina beat Notre Dame 91-69, while first-ranked Arizona took down Cincinnati 77-51. Number 8 Gonzaga beat Pepperdine 84-60, and number 7 Nebraska beat Washington 76-66. In the NHL last night, the Detroit Red Wings with an overtime win over the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1. In a shootout win, the Anaheim Ducks beat the Colorado Avalanche 2-1. Also in overtime, the Utah Mammoth beat the Philadelphia Flyers 5-4. The Seattle Kraken beat the New York Islanders 4-1 in regulation. The Pittsburgh Penguins also beat the Calgary Flames 4-1, while the Washington Capitals fell to the Vancouver Canucks 4-3. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platform, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast.